the end of the day.
It's Mel.
And me. You wanna know
How we did it.
You wanna know how we do it. You wanna know
How we
we're
doing
doing
it.
Welcome to the Mel and Me podcast.
At the end of the day.
And we're back at it.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. It's like, you gotta change it up sometime.
I know it's this habit.
You always start off the same way. Of course, I always start off the same way too.
Exactly.
But so we're back for this recording.
Episode 8.
Episode 8, yeah, so you got ahead of me this time.
Yes.
Normally I would say that.
Yes.
Coming off of episode 7 from last week, where we talked about social media, and that was entitled Social Media or Nah.
Or nah.
And so we pretty much figured out that while I do social media, you pretty much kind of shy away from it and don't get involved with it, and for many good reasons.
Yes.
Lucky you.
Yes.
Because, it's a lot to deal with living in that world. But unfortunately, it's a necessary evil, if you will. So, I guess given the time that we're taping, I do notice my voice is a little bit deeper right now. I'm sure by the end of the broadcast, somebody told me on one of our videos that I sounded like Kirk Franklin. You know who you are out there.
Not
I don't
Kirk
sound
Franklin.
like Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin, he has more of a raspy voice.
Yes.
Family.
Yes.
Hey, family.
Yeah. Very raspy.
When he had Kirk Franklin in the family, he always say family.
Mm-hmm.
But my voice is a little bit deeper than Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, that
under
was a
normal
stretch.
circumstances.
That was a
But
stretch.
I do recognize that, especially as I get hyped up and I do more talking, and as the time passes, I tend to get a little bit more hoarse. So that's where it comes from. But anyway, yeah, so last week's episode, social media, nah. This week's episode, we're moving into number 8. And this one is going to be called Finding Your Future. Finding our future. The way I entitle it is I have a Y in parentheses, and then I have the hour, because it kind of means, your future, as well as it's your future, our future. Because
right.
I'm speaking in terms of, kind of like where we are at this particular phase in life, in which I think that, our perspective, my perspective, your perspective, our perspective could be valuable to anyone who, when they think about their future, how it is that we should go about finding our future. What does that mean? What does it look like?
Right.
You got any thoughts about that before we kind of get started, or?
No.
No, you just gonna ride my coattails?
Yes, of course, as usual.
Like you say, you used to doing. See, so y'all see how she does it, right?
I have no shame with that either.
So she has admitted to ride my coattails.
Yeah, I will continue to do it with no shame.
See this is what I deal with.
Zero shame.
So, but I'm used to it, and we'll just drive this ship.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so like I said, it's we are at a particular phase in life, moving into that, what some might deem to be that final phase, that final stretch, as we get up there and we have no more kids, no more babies in the house.
Yeah, you started getting older.
Trying to figure out how to move forward, with just the two of us, and really, I was thinking about this recently. As a matter of fact, I was like, we are at the first point in our lives where we have never had any kids, where we haven't had to take care of somebody.
I know, I was thinking about that too, probably about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wait a minute, maybe we were alone before. Then I thought about it. No, we were not. What was I thinking? When were we ever alone?
We have never
been alone
in our lives, because from the time we were basically still kids ourselves,
right?
20, and 21, really 19 and 20 when we got together. Although we had the long distance relationship that we did when I was in the military. But once we moved together, because we got married moved
was
in,
pregnant
21,
immediately.
21 and 22 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and we never had, and we have always had someone to take care of.
Yeah. That
And
is
this
true.
is like the first time in our lives after 31 years from that point, you know, that we are now
I know. It's
having
like,
to find
what do
something
we
to
do?
do with ourselves.
What do we do? We got
You
all
know.
this time on our hands now.
And it's, you know, it's a really strange feeling
It
at
is.
times, you know,
Yeah.
things that you deal with,
Yeah.
you know, different feelings and stuff like that. You know, but yeah, so finding your future, I think it's a very fitting thing because it's not something that we are just now embarking upon.
Right.
You know, regardless of, you know, what we're saying, you know,
Yeah.
in this moment, you know, we
Yeah.
have always operated on a footing of looking forward and trying to, you know,
Oh, yeah.
plan
Oh,
our
yeah.
future and stuff. You know,
Absolutely.
thinking about our future and where it is we want to be and, you know, where we want to go and those types of things.
Right.
So, you know, with that, let's get into it. But first, I got to go ahead and I probably already had a sip already.
I've
We're gonna have a
been
cigar.
constantly been sipping
Wet,
mine.
wet my whistle as we
Yes.
be wetting the whistle, bruh, to you out there. But again, this is just tea.
Yes.
It's just tea in the official Mel and Me the podcast
Of
mugs,
course.
right?
Yes.
We got it. We'll put it there to that camera as well, so it can be seen.
Yes.
But
How much?
yeah, I think we gotta sell these at one point.
Oh.
So, but it's just so soothing to have that tea to
Yes.
calm you and stuff, and just to kind of you know wet the whistle of the throat and stuff like that, and relax you and stuff like that. So, I think there are kind of two schools of thought when it comes to this whole thing of finding your future. A lot of times, and I think in terms of a lot of times you hear people talk about the you only live once principle, YOLO, right? You only live once, and so a lot of times people use that as a driver, you know, to how they approach life. You know, like I said, two schools of thought. I think, you know, those who believe in living for today,
And those who believe in living for the future.
yeah, or planning for
the future.
planning
Or
for the future, planning for tomorrow.
Right.
And I guess one could say there's probably drawbacks to either of those schools of thought and advantages to those schools of thought. So, you know, but my personal perspective is, you know, I prefer. So I was thinking about this one day when I was driving. I was in the car. It's amazing how just getting in the car and driving, listening to music and stuff, your mind can just roam free. And you can contemplate a lot of things. But I was thinking about this very concept of how I see people a lot of times, and which for me, you know, I just be upfront. I tend to fall on the side of planning for tomorrow. I'm not one of those live for today type of people, and I'll tell you why. You're not either. Yeah, and that's probably because you've been with me. So you just, like you said, riding my coattails,
Exactly.
right? You riding my coattails, so whatever I say is what you're going to do. You really probably shouldn't be like that 100%.
It's not really. It's not.
But
like
I know you're joking
Yes,
to a degree.
exactly.
But again, we tend to move in concert with each other when it comes to the broader life issues, right?
Right.
And approaches anyway. So it's to be expected. Otherwise, we probably still wouldn't be together today. But so, you know, I look at it in the sense of, I was thinking about this, like I said, when I was driving, and I was like, you know, this whole YOLO thing, you only live once. The way I see it is this: you can live for today, right? But what if tomorrow comes? And if you operate in that mindset of living for today, where you just believe in just going all out today because tomorrow's not promised, as people
that's
say
a
a
lot
lot
of-
of
that's
times,
their
right?
perspective, yes.
And that's the basis, right?
Yeah.
That's the
And I get
idea
that.
is that tomorrow's not promised to us. And so I guess people look at it in a sense of, well, I don't want to spend today living in a timid manner or not going after things that I've always wanted to go after because I might not wake up tomorrow, right? And if I do, then I've lost that opportunity. Whereas I look at it like this: if you don't wake up tomorrow, you're not going to know anyway.
Exactly. Right.
You're not going to know.
Yeah.
The people you leave behind will know. They'll
Yeah.
be like, oh man, such and such had so much potential.
Yeah.
They
You
could
hear
have done
that a
this,
lot.
and they'll feel sad for you, but you ain't going to know.
I mean, I think you need to take advantage of every opportunity you can while we are on this earth. But because we don't know how long we have left, why not seize the opportunity while you're here and make the most of it, do the most that you can while you're in a position to do so. I mean, that's just pretty much how I think.
Okay, and so basically you're giving credence though then to the you only live once, get things done today. That's really what you're saying.
I mean, but
there's no problem with that. Don't get me wrong, but that's what you just described.
But yeah,
if you think about it.
Well, I guess that is true, but even still, even with long-term goals, I think it's a combination of both, because I think you can do both. You can do both,
and that's just it, and that's the point that I hope to get to, and that I hope comes out of this when everything is said and done. That's what I hope that comes out of this, and I think probably with most people that's the case. I think we just tend to lean more toward one thing, but if you're smart, if you're smart in this life, you're gonna adopt, elements of both.
Oh, you should. At least you should.
But some people are straight up reckless, and they just like. And a lot of times, the way you see it manifest is, most of the time, people apply that mindset to things like finances and our indulgences, right? As far as we use that as an excuse to blow money and do wild stuff. That's probably not smart sometimes, but it's like YOLO,
right?
It's like, why not go ahead and do it? But back to my point, though, on a more serious note, it's like, what if tomorrow does come, and you've lived that reckless, freewheeling type of life in your approach to things? Tomorrow, if it comes, and there's a good likely chance it's gonna come. For most of us under normal circumstances, high chance it's gonna come. You want to be well positioned, and so I would rather use a more measured approach to life rather than just saying, leaning more heavily toward the live for today thing. Because a lot of times the live for today thing can get you in trouble because of the fact that you go all out too much and you leave nothing in reserve. I guess that's the thing I'm looking at, especially when you're looking at it from like a financial perspective, a legacy perspective.
Yeah, those are huge there.
Stuff like that. Because okay, let's look at it this way. You look at it in the sense that we live in a time, and everybody out there knows this because we see it all the time on social media, right? Where people die, right? They have no life insurance.
No will.
They have no will.
Yeah.
They have no savings.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing. Yeah.
They have nothing. They leave here with nothing.
And a lot of times the family have a hard time even paying for the funeral arrangements.
Exactly. And I say they leave here with nothing. Of course they leave here with nothing, right?
I mean, yeah.
You can have everything in the world, but when you leave here, you can't take it with you. So I misspoke when I said that. But I guess I meant to say they leave behind nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's the situation that it creates. It places a family into a situation where we're out here on social media running GoFundMes, right? And people are constantly being pressed and leaned on, from a friend or a family member to scrape up money, so that somebody can get buried properly, right?
Right. Whereas if you planned, then you would have, had the, insurance, made sure that, okay, when I die, this is what I want, this is how I want the funeral, or whatever arrangements to be made so that the family is not left picking up pieces in that example that you're using.
At least the burial policy.
Yeah, at least the burial.
That's not very expensive,
exactly.
Right? But most of us, many of us, I would say most, don't think about that.
No.
So... I mean, so we don't even bother. And the thing is, I think the thing that gets me about that is, and that it really is a topic for another. That really is a discussion for another topic that we can cover at another time. Yeah. So I won't get too much into that. So we'll just put a pin in that right there. We'll talk about that on another episode or something. But that it's that planning and stuff, right? So but tomorrow is going to come. In most cases it will, and if you're not prepared for it, then your life is not necessarily going to be in the best place that it can be. Or you can find yourself constantly on that hamster wheel. You're going from day to day. It's like, YOLO yet again. So I guess it sounds a little bit funny, but maybe I'm not expressing it the best way, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, I feel much more comfortable, when I consider the broader picture. It's not just about living for today. You have to think for tomorrow, because you have people that you're going to leave behind in most cases.
Especially if you have children.
If you have children, right? So you want to have things structured to where, you may be gone from here, but they can find a silver lining behind that cloud somewhere.
Exactly, because I think that the family would be able to, take your death a little bit more with ease if they know that they are not left with a burden of trying to bury you, all of the expenses associated that's going to be left behind. So to me, that's just how I think, because I
Right.
mean that's stressful for a family to have to be able to deal with that.
Right. So, but again,
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell on
To
that
that,
too much. So
exactly.
we'll move it. But yeah, but I just think in terms of, I guess that's the easiest way to think about the living for today as opposed to planning for tomorrow, because a lot of times that's the basis that we do it.
Right.
So, but anyway, but when it comes to finding our future, it is, I think it's an active process. I think it's something that should be ongoing with us, because that's going to signify growth. We don't want to remain stagnant in life. So we should always be looking toward our future. What do we see ourselves in a certain period of time? What do we see ourselves, within the context of other people, or being in their lives, whether it be our kids, our family, professionally, economically, financially,
Right.
Spiritually, those various types of things. So it's something I think that we should seriously consider. And we should be aware, when we are in those places. We should be stopping and taking stock when we are in those moments in our lives. So, so one thing that I think that's very important when it comes to us finding our future or contemplating our future is looking at our present. And there's a certain level of honesty that we have to deal with or consider in dealing in our present. So, honesty in our present situation.
Because it will impact.
It definitely will impact, because so tell me, why do you think it would have an impact being honest about your present situation when it comes to considering or trying to find your future?
I mean, even with let's just say employment, that can be a factor. Like right now, so depending on what it is you do, what profession you're in, where we're at in the state right now, given that we had just went through COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. Some people were not able to find employment after that, to recover from that, so rebuilding. So right now that we're still dealing with impacts from that, depending on what field you in. So that can impact you there, which will also impact you financially, because obviously if you're not employed, then that's going to impact you financially, which could have an impact on what it is you're trying to do for the future. So those are two big things that I see with the present state right now, how it can impact your your planning for the future
from a financial perspective.
From a financial perspective, because that's big, because that's what most people that's a huge thing right now with most people, is their finances.
Okay.
So I always like to just finances is always I always like to touch on finances.
Yeah. Okay, so let me zoom out a bit.
Okay.
I look at it in terms of, because I'm the 20,000 foot guy, right? So let's look at one thing that engulfs us on a daily basis, living here in the United States, and that is the state of the United States. Where we are as a nation, the socio-political climate, and all of the various things that we see that are very problematic in our society. In finding your future, you have to consider that broader picture.
Yeah.
That which extends beyond just the four walls of your home.
Yeah.
The people who are closest to you, because there are broader issues that impact that are going to impact our future.
Yeah, that's true.
When you have to make big decisions, you have to consider those things. And quite frankly, like I said, you know, in my opinion, we are in bad shape in this country right now.
Yeah.
You know, all the various isms that are out there. You know, tribalism, racism,
Yeah.
sexism,
Sexism.
just ageism.
Yeah.
You know, you have ableism.
Yeah.
You have all these various things or groups of people that are dealing with all these various struggles in a society that seems to have a lack of empathy and heavy apathy of just being oblivious
Yeah.
to most things, not caring
Not caring. Yeah.
until it hits their doorstep,
Yeah.
and then they want to complain and expect their crisis to be taken on and their burdens to be taken on with a level of empathy from everybody else that they refuse to put forth themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And so I think we live in a society that's where that's a big thing, you know. And so that's you know, that's just one of those things that, in terms of me, when I apply it to my situation, our situation, you know, something that I consider heavily.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's talk about, along with that, so many different things. Like I said, apathy, lack of empathy. There's a high level of arrogance that's largely been due to our programming
Yeah.
that we get, you know, from being in school, from the news,
Social
from
media.
social media, just all kinds of different stuff, man. You know, we're overrun with violence, hostilities, distrust,
Yeah.
you know, between people, generally speaking. It's just crazy. And so you take another element that we have, that's a part of our society, and we suffer from it in a major way, and the rest of the world looks at us and thinks that we're totally out of our minds. You look at things like the gun, right? Which, let's just be clear, you know, I'm very much
But second.
pro Second Amendment.
Yeah.
And there's a reason I'm very much pro Second Amendment. I wish it wasn't a necessity,
But it is.
but we live in society, unfortunately, that has that built into its fabric.
Yeah.
It's part of its foundation. And it's something that we're very rabid about, right? And so, you know, though, you know, I believe in self-preservation and self-protection. And if I live in a society that leans heavily on the gun, because that very society was established basically at the barrel of a gun,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Then you better believe I'm gonna have mine,
Please believe it.
right?
Yeah.
Although I wish I didn't have to. Because you see, I feel like you should not have to live in a society, a so-called civilized society, right,
Yeah.
where such a thing has to be so prevalent.
Yep.
And why is it so prevalent, right? It's because, like I said, the way society is structured. But let's talk about that fabric. It says that might is right. If I want a certain thing, if I have to step on you to get it,
And that's what I'm gonna do.
that's what I'll do. If I have to destroy you to get it
Yep.
and keep you down, that's what I'll do.
Yep.
And if you can't do anything about it, then that's all the better for me, right?
Correct.
So there's so much that's tied up into that, and that translates into oppression
Yeah.
of whoever,
Yep.
right? By some larger entity that has an advantage for whatever reason. Really, at the end of the day, it comes down, the end all be all is that gun.
Yeah.
Because if I can't control you, then I'll kill you.
Kill you. Yep.
And this is the easiest way and the most efficient way for me to do it.
Yep. And quickly.
Right? So, do I enjoy living in that type of society? No, I think it's absolutely insane. And I express that thought to people all the time.
Yeah.
My comrades who are pro 2A people, you know. And of course, we're members of National African American Gun Association, NAGA. Yes, we are. Right?
Yep.
Love the organization. It's a necessary organization.
It is.
But I wish it didn't have to exist.
But it does.
Right?
And it's needed.
And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
So again, that's more of that honesty about the present. Now, what that does do is that does help to drive the calculations that I make in finding my future.
Yes.
Finding our future, right?
Yes.
How much do I want that to be a part of my life? How good is that for my psyche on a day-to-day basis?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So that comes into play. So, you know, and with that, like with anything else, you know, sometimes we can outgrow our existence, and that drives us, helps to drive us as well in finding our future. And we have to recognize when we're in those particular type of places. It's like you hear people say all the time, you might have heard this saying before, where people say, if you find that you are the smartest person in your circle, then you need to do what? Can you finish that statement? Have you
Find
heard?
another group of people.
Find a new circle.
Yeah, new circle.
You've heard that before, right?
Yes.
If you find that you are the smartest person in your circle, then it's time to find a new circle. Meaning that if you're the smartest person in your circle, then what is there that anyone in that circle can teach you?
Right.
Is there any room for growth for you, for them, right? And so that's what that says. It's like it's time to find new things to challenge you intellectually, right? Because otherwise you're going to see no growth. So that makes sense. So
yeah.
I see it the same, you know, when it comes to, like I said, outgrowing your existence. You can get to a point where you say, you know what, I just don't feel challenged by this thing anymore. My day-to-day life,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? When I wake up every day, yeah, sure, you can have a great career.
Or if it becomes too stressful.
If it becomes too stressful, just the life in general.
Yeah,
right?
the life in general, yes.
Yeah, you know, relationships.
Yeah.
Dealing with people. You can become bored by seeing the same things.
Yeah.
By revisiting the same attitudes day in and day out on various levels.
Right.
Right? And so it can just become one of those things where you say, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I think I can look in this direction.
Yeah, find something different, do something better.
Find different things to challenge yourself, to help you to grow.
Right.
Right? And I think in a way you're kind of doing your situation a favor, whether it be the circle that you're in, right? Because I think once you, and by that circle, I mean, let's just say it can be a geographic location, it can be anything. It can be a social circle, it can be an educational circle, professional circle, whatever.
Right.
Creative circles, right? And you see it happen. You see it happen. And when I say creative, it kind of reminds me, because, you know, being a former musician or whatever, you see it all the time with bands and stuff like that. You know, bands break up.
Yeah, all the time.
You know, you look at groups that we grew up watching. You know, they split up.
Yeah, no,
You know, some of them might have come back together years
and they leave
later.
for many different reasons.
Yeah, a lot of times money and stuff like that in the business. But a lot of times it's the famous creative differences types of thing. You know, somebody wants to do more of the singing. Somebody wants to do the majority more writing. You know, but this person say, yeah, I'm the best at writing.
Yeah.
I'm the best at making beats. Or making I'm a better musician than you are. I'm a better singer than you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's stuff like that. Or because I do, you know, I contribute this much to the group, I should get a larger share of the money.
Right.
Like we heard my man from the R&B group that we watch their podcast every now and then talk about. They make the joke about Tyrese, how he wanted the larger share of the money in the TGT group or whatever it was called. But stuff like that, right? So that ends up happening, and so sometimes removing certain elements from an equation, it can improve that situation. So with that, and that's just a reality though. You can just outgrow a situation, and so you have to figure out ways to I guess smoothly transition. And that's not to say you have to totally remove yourself from the situation. You can kind of have the best of both worlds. It's just that as you move forward, I think in your future, it's with a certain perspective. How much to give to each situation. I think you determine a better balance of how, and I think we're employing that to some degree in our lives and our approach as we go forward.
Yes.
But that's all part of that vision.
Yeah.
It's that's the broader vision, what it is that you see for yourself.
And the planning, like you say, you have to constantly do it.
Yeah. Constantly, and that comes with, I think it comes with education. Yeah. Educating ourselves, being educated, and that's one thing that I'm sure I'd get on. I've always gotten on people's nerves with in my life, but something that I take great pride in, and that's being educated. On many things. Yeah, right?
It's important.
And I think sometimes we limit ourselves. Why? I'll never know. I never understand why that we limit ourselves. And just embracing education on just different stuff, anything and everything. I probably have more. I ain't gonna say that. I won't say that. I'm just thinking in terms of like how much people say useless knowledge or whatever. Because I've always been an information hog.
Yeah, I don't think any of it can be useless because you never know when you can utilize some of it, depending on what situation. So I don't think anything that we learn, to me, is useless because you never know when you can employ it.
Yeah, or when you might find yourself in a certain circle.
Exactly.
Where, you can totally wow somebody that had no idea that you would be so well versed in a particular area. Absolutely. And I found, and one of the so-called secrets to my success, if you will, with having that as a character trait, is that has created a lot of opportunity for me in life. It's gotten me opportunities that I don't think I could have gotten otherwise had I not been able to have certain levels of conversation. In certain spaces. Yeah. And people find themselves surprised. It's like, wow, you're a pretty interesting guy. Let me do this for you. Yeah. Okay. Yep. But being educated on many things, and I'm talking everything from the, whether it be, religion, finance, political science, science, technology, medicine,
especially
biology.
Where the world is going anyways, is it would behoove you to educate as the world is changing fast. It's best if we do take the opportunity to to read, if it's watching documentaries, if it's watching programs that's talking about different things, so you can learn from many different avenues. It may not be you necessarily picking up a book to read, because I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to actually read a book, but there's many other different ways that you can still educate yourself.
Yeah, there's so many options out there. I mean, we got the internet's been around now in earnest for a little bit more than 20 years. Now we're moving into this artificial intelligence phase where you could literally type in a prompt or any question or anything you have a question about, whereas previously you had to just put it into a Google search engine, right? Whereas now you can literally have a conversation, with a bot out there that's gonna in real time interpret what it is you say and have a real live conversation with you and can educate you, on any topic you might, even you could ever dream of. So videos and And you can still have good old conversations with people too.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Which we
That
kind of
is.
shy away from,
Yeah.
many of us these days.
And
But
that's because, with the social media, you're able to just do stuff right from your phone or the computer. So that really takes away a lot of that. But I think that is good when you have different people that's, can bring different perspectives, to the conversation. You'd be surprised what you can learn.
yeah, yeah, and but it's all about as far as all the different resources that you have out there or that we have out there. It's just recognizing, being in tune to those winds of change,
Yes.
and being able to make those adjustments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a lot of people out there that you got this new sexy thing and term out there with this whole, everybody's talking AI. And we limit ourselves, like our vision. It's kind of like with the whole crypto thing, and NFTs and stuff. People just have an idea that an NFT is just a picture. It's just some silly image of a ape or something like
Right.
that.
Some type of animal or
it's
something.
far
Yeah.
beyond that.
Yep.
Far beyond it. Just like
Yep.
AI is just not just a picture.
Right.
That we use. Like, to me, that's still just Photoshop. It's just using code to take and enhance, the photos that we used to have to do by hand with all of the different filters and the layers and smoothing and all that, and photo correction and stuff like that. But AI, in its truest sense, is so much bigger than that.
Oh, yes.
It's logic,
Yes.
to automate processes, to predict,
Yes.
actions, to influence action. And it's just so much bigger than what we see it now. And so, we have to be able to adjust to those winds of change and have our finger on the pulse of what's going on, beyond just, what's immediately in front of us,
Yep.
and kind of dig in, so.
Which piggybacks again on with the education piece, because as AI is it's not going anywhere, and it's definitely going to be the future. As you're educating and we're educating and we're learning, then that can in some instances help to save your job, because AI is taking over a lot of positions. Whereas they're like, okay, we no longer need an actual human to do this, we can now have this machine to do it. But whereas if we're educating ourselves and we're staying abreast and learning more about AI and all of that, then to me that can also, it can help make you continue to be more marketable as we're moving into more of the AI space.
Yeah, the world is changing fast. It's
It
changing
is.
at warp speed. I was sitting watching just a little while ago. I was watching a couple videos out there on YouTube that self-driving cars. Like they referred to it as an Uber, but it wasn't an Uber. It was a total. It was like a Jaguar. The car that pulled up, and the passenger, the lady got into the back of the car, and there was a touch screen in the back seat area, like where the console comes from, the center of the car, between the seats. They had a screen there, and all she had to do was press a button that said start ride.
Really?
And she booked a reservation, I guess, and it knew where she was going. That was probably all part of the reservation process. So when the car showed up, she got in, start ride, the car pulled away from the curb, got in the traffic, and was taking her to wherever it was she was going to go. So that's
where we're going.
Yeah, but that's where it is now, right? And so so that adjusting to the winds of change and stuff like that is all, and of course certain places you find that those things are, technology is being embraced and moving at a faster pace. I mean, I think about how when we go to South Africa in a few weeks, right? We got to go to our residence over there, and we're going to have to do palm scans and fingerprints and all that kind of stuff, just so that we can get into our property.
Yep.
Right, because it's a gated, secure community, and you're not getting up in there unless you're in a biometric database.
Yep, everything's
so we're going to be pulling
now.
up. We're going to be pulling up to the crib and be like this to get into our place.
Right. But I mean, I
But
think
I'm
it's
cool
good,
with
though.
that.
I'm cool with it too. It's great.
A lot of people are scared of that,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people, you do have a lot of people who are afraid to deal with change. some people just don't deal well with it, and for whatever reason, but we're just in a time right now that we are going to have to embrace the change. Otherwise, we're going to get left behind.
That's right. And the world is stopping for no
No
one.
one. No
It's
one.
stopping for no one at this point. And if you are not technologically inclined, it's like,
Yeah.
we're getting up there in age now, so we're not going to be around to see a lot of this. But I'm telling you, folks gonna have to get it together.
Yes.
We're gonna have to adjust our mindsets, and we're gonna have to become more technologically
tech savvy.
inclined and educated. I'm
Yes.
talking about pursuing it as an educational endeavor.
Yep.
Because otherwise you're gonna have the world that we're heading into. You're gonna have the rich, and you're gonna have the poor.
Trying to get rid of middle class.
And that's what it's going to be. And
Yep.
either you are going to be served,
or you're
going to be
serving.
a servant. That's what you're going to be.
You will be serving.
And we see it more and more now all the time. They're removing safety nets.
Yep.
So that people don't have anything to fall back on, and you have to be in that service mode.
Yes.
To those elites, if you will. So yeah, we gotta be able to adjust to those winds of change.
Yep.
And that takes finding our future. It takes courage. Courage and overcoming a certain amount of fear. And that's the fear that you
Right.
actually spoke to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to be willing to say, okay, I'm gonna take and consciously go after this thing.
And willing to accept change. We
Right.
must be willing to accept change. A lot of us we're just not there yet. We don't want change, but again, where the world is going, where we're at now, and where we will be in the future, change is always going to be necessary.
Yeah, and so what that means is, that courage, mustering that courage, that applies to the life, and as I alluded to earlier, even the people that you know. Family, friends, colleagues, you got a job, you got a career, you got whatever.
Yeah.
Your future is going to affect all of that.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to not allow that. And I even spoke about this in probably one of our first 2 episodes when I talk about how, like with family and stuff, like essentially like even what we were doing.
I think we talked about in our Africa episode.
It was the Africa episode. Yeah. When we would express the idea of purchasing property
Right.
over in South Africa, you always get that knee-jerk pushback. People always tell you why it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And it's like, or they believe you're not going to do it. And you have to shake that, because at the end of the day, it's your life.
Right.
Nobody else can live your life for you.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody can look at the world through your eyes.
Nope.
But you. And what your calling is in life. It's not going to necessarily be the same as the next person.
Not at all.
And your calling at one particular point in your life may not be the same as it's going to be 10 years from then, 20 years from then. Again, like I said earlier, we have to find new things to challenge us. Sometimes we have to see different scenery, or at least be able to every now and then experience or become part of that scenery. Put a foot, I like to say, put a foot in a different puddle.
Yeah.
You have to have that sometime, because sometime that's going to make the difference between you're maintaining your sanity and losing it.
Yeah.
You can't stay in the same situation all the time, especially one that is not necessarily healthy for you, and expect to thrive.
Yeah.
And grow.
Even if you're fearful, it's still worth the effort to try.
Yeah, so you have to get that reprieve every now and then. So, and the only way that you can do that is, like I said, not the only way, but one of the ways that's key in helping you to do that is to have the courage.
Yeah.
Have the courage to do so, right?
Yep.
So, where is the future for us? When I say us, I mean us, but I also mean us, right? Just people out in the world. Where is that future? How do we determine where that future is? I think it starts out with doing the research.
Yeah.
Like we just spoke to earlier. We
Right.
got we live in the internet age.
Yeah.
Now,
Everything is right at your fingertips.
right at our
Your
fingertips. We can go find out anything we want to find out about any place in the world. We could literally walk the streets virtually of any place in the world just about that's mapped.
Yep.
You know. And so we do the research, and that's what we did.
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
I did.
Did the research.
That's what I did.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did.
You rolled my coattails on it, right? Like
yeah, you did the research.
but that's what we did. You know, that's what I did for us. And we still researching all the time.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing research every day.
Yeah.
Just about.
And I've
like.
actually started doing research too. So I've actually
got
got there and started
on some
doing
things, right?
Yeah, on some things, yeah.
But you got to do the research,
Yeah.
and you don't just go off half cocked and just shoot from the hip. You know, when it comes to your future, I don't think, you know, because those are big things, right?
Absolutely.
And so we want to be best informed, you know, and so do the research, you know, do it, keep doing it, you know, revisit it, you know, so that we are best informed about our situation, and we make the best decisions. And that's not to say that we're going to be 100% on point all the time.
But
right?
doing your own research also helps, you know, because people have misconceptions about things. People may say whatever about whatever, but you can't always go by what someone else says. That's for doing your own research.
Yeah.
Therefore, you will know yourself, because we hear things that may not even necessarily be accurate. So it's why it's good to receive information from other people. Sometimes we have to take that with a grain of salt and let us do our own research. And therefore, when you're making your decisions, it's based off the research that you've done. And you can take into consideration what someone else has said. But if you're not doing your own research, that's really not me.
I mean, even if it's simple things, like doing research doesn't always necessarily mean that you're going to be physically there.
Oh, right,
But
exactly.
but doing the research, it's kind of, I use it as an analogy, right? If you don't even bother to do any research about it, you have no real information. If you're just going off hearsay, you know, digging a little bit deeper.
Right.
Digging a little bit deeper. So yeah, that makes sense. But and that's in regards to, if we're talking about geographic locations, right? You know, and that has a lot to do with finding our future. It's going to be determined by where we're going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Which in our case it's real easy for me to talk about the South Africa thing, because that's what we're doing. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
Right. We are there. We are in this now. Right.
Knee deep, neck deep.
Neck deep.
Yes. Yes.
So it's very real for us.
Yes.
But you know, travel.
Yes. Travel.
Get a passport. I
Yes.
don't know what the statistics are at this point as far as United States citizens who actually have passports, right? And it's crazy. You would think with us, and I'm sure it goes just back to that thing of, we just live with a certain level of arrogance here. We think that the world revolves around the United
States. Yes.
That's what we've been taught to believe, and we've been taught to feel bad about even being so bold as imagining some place that's even remotely on a better footing than here. But you know, many good things about the United States.
Yeah.
But it isn't the only game in town.
Right, because there's many good things
It's
about
not the
other
only
countries.
game. There's a lot of bad stuff about the United States.
Exactly.
Just like any place else in the world.
Right.
There is no utopia anywhere.
Right.
Right?
Nope.
And so, you know, understanding that, you know, you can be okay with being open to traveling different places and experiencing different places and different cultures and stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, especially in the world that we live in today, we are in a global. We live in our existence has to become more global in nature. We live in a global world. All the economics of the world are tied in together. You know what I'm saying? You get one thing that happens over here directly impacts, you know, the situation in another part of the world.
I mean, but the things that we can learn with traveling, just about other cultures, other people, I mean, to me, that's important too. You'd be surprised with, you know, traveling to different countries. Even, like I said, we went to South Africa, just being able to go on the tour and the things that we learned, it was absolutely amazing. And I don't think that I would have learned all of that had we not actually went there and experienced it for ourselves. So I think it's important to do that too with traveling.
Yeah, so get that passport.
Yes.
Get that passport. Save up the money. We blow money on all kinds of stuff.
And it's
man.
not expensive to get a passport. I mean,
About
it takes
$150.
it may take about what 2 months or whatever.
Maybe a
to
little
get
bit
it.
longer now.
Yeah, 2 to 3 months.
But I would recommend to anyone.
Yeah.
Who has the means and the ability, and it's just a matter of priorities.
Yeah.
Like I said, people blow money on all kind of stuff.
Right.
You can save up money for a ticket to leave this country or go someplace else and experience something else.
Yeah.
Someplace else every now and then.
Yep.
The only thing is we should make sure that we remember is that once we leave the shores of the United States, we are the outsiders.
Right.
We are the foreigners.
Yes.
And so, that's another thing I think that gets us is we get so caught up in, I'm American, kind of stuff. And then we think we want to go into other countries and tell
And
them how to
impose
do
our
stuff.
ideas and
Impose our
ways.
will on them, our
Yeah.
ideas and our ways,
Yeah.
just like you said.
Yeah.
We want to be rude and not respect their culture and customs and stuff like that, their laws.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's necessarily a widespread thing. I'm just saying it's known that people do that type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And even when we go abroad, I have to check myself even subconsciously and say, hey, just remind myself that I'm not in the United States.
Yes.
I'm on somebody else's soil, so I need to, humble myself a little bit and
act accordingly.
And act accordingly. We have to be willing to do that.
Yep.
We are the outsiders.
Yeah.
So I think with that though, with plotting out that future and stuff like that, it's important and then too, and we've kind of embarked upon this thing is trying to establish and form relationships, which we'll have more of an opportunity to do as we go, on a regular basis.
Yes.
Now is to forge those bonds and those relationships, that are part of that future.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Because you're gonna find success in that future. You're not gonna do it alone. Just like you not able to find success in your present. You haven't achieved success or the level of success that you have on your own. I don't care what anybody says. And I don't say that to say that that I'm super successful or all that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just generally speaking.
Right.
When I say finding success, the things that you accomplish in your life, that have helped you grow or achieve some level of comfort or success, as we like to call it. It didn't happen just because due to your greatness.
Oh no.
It's people that have supported you. It's people that have connected you to some opportunity. Somebody that opened the door for you.
Right. And that's with the forming of relationships. That's had you not formed those relationships, those opportunities would not have occurred.
Exactly. So that's key with us right now is to take and forge those relationships with people, which a lot of that has happened, online and stuff like that. But I hope to kind of bring that whole thing together as we spend more time and connect up with people, because we obviously have some of our own ideas about what we want to do there while we continue to do stuff here.
Exactly.
Because it's not that we're this is a part of our future as well, right? Because I mean, this is where we're from,
right.
This is home, if you will. So it's just that, again, we're just altering our equation a little bit so that we can contribute in multiple places,
right.
and enjoy
right
life in multiple places,
which is important.
Right.
And again, because like I say, the world is big. There it is, right there. She just said it. That's this T-shirt that I got on right here. Travel, get out there,
the world
see
is,
the world.
The world is big. Find your place in it. That's it. That's the truth. That's kind of like this little mantra that I came up with a while back. And if you're interested in one of these T-shirts, I have some. I will sell you one. So just hit us, let us know. Hit us on the Mel and Me email or something like that. And the Mel and Me email, I think it's on our YouTube page. In fact, it's Mel and Me 2023 at gmail.com. Mel and Me, MELANDME 2023 at gmail.com if you're interested in one of these shirts, and we'll hook you up. We'll sell it to you. So just let us know.
But yeah, the world is big, you know.
Find your place in it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what we're trying to do. Find our place in this world. And it's something that we've been doing, something that I've been doing, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of leads us into talking about our future as we already have kind of alluded to.
Yeah.
You know, with our property purchase, which we, you know, it's paid for.
Yes, Lord.
And it's paid for outright.
Yes.
Own it free and clear.
Yes.
Cash purchase.
Yes.
Nobody can take it away from us.
No, they cannot. No, they cannot.
So we'll be heading over to
keys.
receive occupancy
Yes.
in a few weeks.
Yes,
We'll
I'm
go
so
over
excited.
And get that and start getting some furniture in there and get other business taken care of. Maybe
Yes.
get a little bit of relaxation in while we're there.
Yes.
And just kind of start our, you know, journey as far as the things that we're going to do over there.
I'm excited about that.
Making a difference.
Yes.
Hopefully being able to utilize, you know, our professional skill sets.
Yep.
To help propel that society
Yeah.
into you know, the future that the world sees for it right now. There's no mistake.
Yeah.
No coincidence that Africa is
They're doing some big things over there.
all over the news all the
Yes.
time.
Doing some big things.
You know, whether it be non-traditional, you know, the internet,
Yeah.
or, you know, mainstream news and stuff, geopolitically speaking, right?
Yeah.
All of the growth and everything that's going over there, which of course it's not something that's new to us. We've been knowing
Right.
about it for years.
Exactly.
That's why we started
Yeah.
making our plans and stuff, figuring out how to get in where we fit in, right? And then plus, two, we are in a time as far as the African diaspora.
Yes.
You know, we are at a point in history where it's being reunited.
Yes, it is.
And it's very timely, and it's no mistake and no coincidence that the things that are happening here in the United States
and that's what's leading to.
play into that.
Absolutely.
Because thanks to the internet, we now get a chance to see what Africa truly
truth,
is.
right? Not what the
Not what
commercials
we've been
have
told.
been. Yes, yep.
Because now we can talk directly to the people there.
Yep.
We can go there. We can see it for ourselves.
Yep.
People on the ground with cameras.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's a different world that we live
Very
in now.
different.
So, you know, you that narrative can no longer be controlled
Not at all.
by those who seek to manipulate you or keep certain truths suppressed and keep the true power of people from being harnessed, right?
Yeah.
And so we are in that time in history right now. And so, you know, being willing to embrace that, and I think the more of us who embrace that and who open up to the idea, and I hope that we can be a catalyst for that, or that we can be a vehicle, you know, like so many others that have kind of gone ahead of us.
Because I think, again, like I just go back to, I think, I don't want to say a lot of people, but I do know that people do have misconceptions about Africa, period, as a whole, the continent as a whole. And what we are going to try to do is we're going to chronicle and journal our path over there, and you know how we're the approach that we're taking, even with us moving over there, and we're going to chronicle that so that you can see,
or having a place over there.
and having a place over there.
We're not moving over
We're
there.
not moving
because we have
I'm saying
full-time
right.
careers
No. I'm saying with us
Well,
when we
we'll
go
have a
and visit.
residence there.
Yeah, we'll have a residence. But even with us visiting, I'm speaking of the whole process of us going through to even just purchase the property and stuff over there, just to kind of see what it's all. And then when we go over and we go over there to visit, so that, and we'll videotape that as well, so that people can see that, oh, okay, this is really what it's like. And I think that that's important to see it from a different perspective, like you said, versus what we've been hearing, you know, people that's actually been over there and can actually show what it's really like. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, it's about having options. And
Yeah.
like I said, I just want to be clear. It's like we're not picking up
Yeah.
and
No.
leaving and going there. You know, we have
no.
a second residence over there, a second home.
Yeah.
Because we got jobs to we have careers that we gotta. And I don't want nobody from my company coming across this YouTube be like, "Hey, he getting ready to leave.
No.
Fire him!" Like, nah,
No.
that's not the deal. But
I know.
but we're in that phase of life where we're approaching retirement.
Yeah.
And so that gives us an option to have for retirement. Whether it be in the short term and let these investments come through in the next couple of years of this next bull market and let us come up, let us hit a lick,
right.
and we'll be early retiring.
I mean, but I think it's to for us is because we plan, and so it was get in now, early, so we can already have a second residence. It's no different than buying a second residence here. We just chose to buy it in another country. It's really just that simple for us.
Yep.
And get in now, because trust me, within the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be really expensive to buy property in Africa.
It's going to cost you. So it's like now, taking advantage of the exchange rate
exactly
that we have been able to has been lovely.
Yeah, so that had a lot to do with it.
Gets us in on our first property, because honestly, we don't plan on this being our only property.
Right,
it's our first property.
Yes.
And realistically, I won't say that, but it's our first property.
Yeah.
And so I could see down the line, especially if we get into an early retirement situation, which means we came into some money, right, from investments or whatever, then that'll end up probably just getting rented out to somebody else, and we'll get us something even nicer. Not overly, I'm not talking about going over there and getting like a 6,000 square foot, although they build big over there. They
do.
They build big, and for the money, like I look at it, if we were to spend for a home in South Africa what our house is worth here, those Hollywood celebrities who are living in the Hollywood Hills and Malibu and Bel Air and all that kind of stuff. What's the spot where the Kardashians live? Calabasas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You talking Calabasas and Bel Air level.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do, relatively speaking, but that's really not my goal at this point. I'm cool with living
and it's
a
just
modest
us.
life.
Yeah.
Modest life, being able to do what I want to do. If we want to hit those other countries and hit, other countries on the African continent, which is part of the plan.
Exactly.
And, South Africa will just be our home base from doing so.
Yeah.
That's I just want to be smart about those things. I don't need to go fly all off the handle. If I'm not doing that here, I'm definitely not going to go over there and flex like that. That's not my goal. We have plans and desires to, like I said, to do things on a professional level and contribute there and stuff like that, and to help do something to benefit that society and the people there.
Right.
To use whatever resources that we have.
Yeah.
Whether it be through our investments, or other finances, our intellectual capacity and stuff like that.
Right.
Organizational capacity.
Yeah.
To hopefully create, partner up, and even create some opportunities for others over there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. That's pretty
yes.
much it. Normally we would get to the point where we would say what's next.
What is next?
For the next episode. And you know what? I don't know.
What's
I don't
next?
know. I can't say what the next episode is going to be at this point.
So we would just come on with the next one then.
Yeah,
we
the
won't
next
put
episode.
It out there. We'll
as far as what now, I may have something. I may put something out sometime maybe next week to kind of hint as to what the next episode is going to. Not that it matters. It's going to be.
Right.
The next episode will show up when it's supposed to show up.
Right.
It's just that the particular topic I haven't decided on yet, because we have more than enough topics to tackle.
Yeah.
But I haven't decided, what gear I want to shift for the next topic. So, but again, in the coming weeks, our main focus is getting back over to Johannesburg, and I'm looking forward to vlogging that whole trip over there and stuff like that. And then we'll be gathering more footage for that documentary that I hope to put
Yeah.
together and stuff. But we'll do some vlogs as we're traveling over, and during the time that we're spending there. So and in fact, we will, one of our episodes we will do from Johannesburg. I'm gonna plan that we will do one episode of Millimeter Podcast from Johannesburg. So that'll be
Because we would be over there during the time that we would have been taping anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll do it from our empty place over there.
We'll be on the floor.
We won't have any furniture there. Although, you know what?
Hopefully we can get that worked out in one day. We got to see with the logistics.
We'll be checked out of the place that we're staying earlier that day because but we'll vlog from there. We'll vlog from there too. Yeah. So that'll get a chance from that environment. That'll be real cool.
But we just want to, let everybody see kind of what the process is. So if this is something that you may be thinking of, that you may want to do, but not necessarily knowing what steps to take or whatever, so we're going to be, kind of providing it, so you can see kind of from the beginning, to the end, as he said, the documentary that eventually
you're sitting way up on that mic. You're too comfortable.
I was scratching. Eventually,
it's probably gonna be all distorted and stuff.
Eventually, that we will get out. So yes, so I'm excited about that too.
All right, you too excited? You forgot that you taping? You like? I'm just so excited.
Yes, I know. I forgot.
Man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's okay.
So with that, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
And it's been a decent episode.
Yes.
Finding our future, give a bit of an idea some of the calculations I guess that we make in our perspective when it comes to that whole thing.
Yeah.
So we just gonna keep it moving, and as we like to say, at the end of the day, it's
Mel
and me, and this has been
the podcast.
Later.
Hello. Yep, the same thing. Yes.